everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Muay Thai. I'm your host, Angela. And today we're going to be diving into something that's not only essential for your progression in Muay Thai, but also for your well-being. And that is setting boundaries. I apologize for how my voice sounds. I've been sick for like 6 days already. I am on medication that I just got yesterday. Hopefully I'm going to get better. I was getting a little bit better. And then a few days ago, we had 7 fighters from the gym fight, and I went at corner for some of them. I was screaming, I was yelling. So on top of being sick, I also lost my voice a bit, and now it's just starting to come back. So yeah, I feel like I can't win. But onto our topic, setting boundaries in your training. Now, as athletes, we're often taught to push through discomfort, be tough, to respect our coaches and our partners all times. But sometimes that like all or nothing mindset can make us overlook something that's just as important, which are our own boundaries. It can be physical, mental, or emotional boundaries. And setting these boundaries is crucial, not just for staying safe, but also making sure training remains sustainable, enjoyable, and growth oriented. So you're always learning. I have learned this the hard way in my own journey. So I would like to share some of my own experiences. I would like to share what I've learned, but also how you can apply these lessons to your own training and your own journey. First off, why are boundaries so important in Muay Thai? When we think about boundaries, especially in the context of Muay Thai and combat sports, most people immediately think about physical boundaries. After all, this is a contact sport, and it is essential to protect your body from injury. I can't tell you how many times I had to speak up during sparring because someone was going too hard or hitting places that I specifically said not to hit. Something that comes time and time again is people just like hitting my knee joint, which I am very paranoid about injuring, by the way, because I used to work for a physical therapist, and we've had a lot of former athletes with knee injuries, and it's actually so crazy how easy it is to get a knee injury. I've had training partners who just wouldn't listen, even though I would tell them, hey, can you please not hit me here? Let me tell you, verbal communication, especially if there is a certain point where it's like, hey, don't hit this, is going to be key, because being silent in these kind of situations not only leads to trouble, it leads to injuries, it leads to frustration. It's also important to remember that boundaries go beyond just physical safety. They also extend into mental and emotional well-being. If you're constantly being pushed not just past your limits, but to the point where you are uncomfortable with what's happening and you don't see how this is going to benefit you, it can affect your mental health, it can affect your confidence, and even your love for the sport. I used to seethe in silence during sparring. Now, I'm only like 5'2", 157 centimeters, and weigh about 120 pounds. So most of my sparring partners are bigger than I am. Back home in the US, they were often much bigger. If I felt like I was being hit too hard, instead of speaking up, I would hit harder myself to kind of try to prove myself and be like, oh, you want to hit me hard? I'll show you that I can hang in here hard too. But if you look at us from the outside, it's like, what am I even doing? Like, why would I try to escalate things? That was my ego talking, and it wasn't helping anyone, least of all myself. What I eventually realized was that people cannot read your mind. If someone's going too hard or making you uncomfortable, you have to speak up. I used to expect people to just know that they were crossing the line based off my body language or how I reacted, but that's just not how it works. You have to set clear boundaries, and when you do, it opens the door for your partners to adjust. When you don't set these boundaries, then you have to also realize that by you not speaking up, there is the very, very possible consequence of your partners never getting the opportunity or the knowledge to adjust. And if they don't adjust, even after you tell them, then it's very simple. You stop working with them. So how do you actually go about setting boundaries in the gym? Here are a few examples. Number 1, telling someone to dial it back. Sparring can be intense, but don't forget that it's also supposed to be fun. If someone's going too hard, tell them. It could be something as simple as, hey, can we dial it back? I'm not okay with this level of intensity today. Saying just that can go a long way. And if they don't respect that, that's not your problem. If this person has a pattern of not respecting such a request, talk to your coach or whoever is in charge of training. So it can be the gym owner, the gym manager. Hard sparring should always be a mutual agreement. Number 2, choosing a suitable partner. You are under no obligation to spar with people who make you uncomfortable. If it's a safety concern or just bad energy, it's perfectly okay to just say no. Your training time is yours, and it should be spent with people that you feel safe, focused around, and know that you can learn from, even if they are much better than you. Number 3, slowing things down. Sometimes the pace can get overwhelming, especially when you're learning something new. I've been in situations where my partner was calling out things too fast during pad work or drills that I couldn't keep up. I'm a slow learner as it is. So if you give me like a bunch of information at one time and expect me to do it at the same pace as something that I already know how to do, that's just not going to happen for me. I would say, can we slow this down a little bit? And it usually improves what was happening. Some people just aren't aware. So don't be afraid to speak up for what you need. Number 4, informing people about your injuries or concern about injury. If you got an injury, let your training partners and your coaches know. Early in my fight career, I wouldn't always mention I had something that was hurting me or bothering me. But after several close calls during training, I realized that it just wasn't worth the risk to stay silent for everyone else's comfort. Your health comes first, and toughing it out is not a badge of honor, especially if it leads to a long-term injury. Now, let's talk about communication, because communication is at the heart of setting boundaries. Whether it's asking someone to tone down their sparring intensity or letting your coach know you can't train a certain way due to an injury, being clear and being direct is crucial. You don't have to be aggressive, but you do need to be firm. For example, if someone keeps hitting your injured area, you can say, if you keep hitting my knee, I'm going to stop sparring with you. It's not confrontational, even though it might feel like it if you're not used to setting boundaries. It's just simply a statement of what will happen if they don't adjust. And injury is a very valid concern. Most people will appreciate the clarity and will adjust accordingly. And trust me, this can feel very awkward at first, like I said earlier, especially if not used to speaking up. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And eventually you will find wording that works for you better as a person, that feels more natural to you. And especially when you start to not just know, but truly understand that you are protecting your body and your mind, and you're trying to foster a safer environment for not just you, but everyone else in the gym. So what do you do if your boundaries are being ignored? Let's just say it's not a one-time thing, because one-time things can just be accidents. And people do make accidents because they're not perfect. But it happens again and again with the same person or same people. This is where I believe you need to get leadership to come in to address this. If the head coach or the gym owner isn't fostering an environment where your boundaries are respected, that's a red flag. I've been in gyms where this is the case, and it's toxic in so many ways. The leadership sets the tone for a gym. If a coach is dismissive of boundaries, that attitude trickles down to everyone else. I've had to leave a gym before because the culture didn't respect my needs as a fighter. I was there for years, but I saw over the years that I wasn't being valued. No amount of pushing or advocating for myself would change that. It was a hard decision to make, especially since I was really close to my trainer. But it was also one of the more empowering decisions that I've made during my fight career. You deserve to be in an environment that respects you, respects your boundaries, and respects your growth. If you're not getting that, it's okay to walk away. I don't know if you need to hear this, but it's okay to walk away. Loyalty, I've said this a lot of times already, but loyalty is earned. It is not given. Boundaries don't just apply to training. They don't just apply to Muay Thai. The lessons that you learn in the gym, whether it's speaking up when something doesn't feel right or walking away when your needs aren't being met, apply to life outside of the gym too. They can apply in your relationships, at work, with your family, you name it. Protecting your energy and setting your boundaries in one area can help you do the same in other areas, even if they're not exactly the same thing. But hopefully you might feel empowered after you do start setting boundaries during training to apply this in other areas of your life. I hope you found this helpful and it gives you some clarity on how to assert yourself in your training. Remember that boundaries aren't just about safety, they're about your growth in your Muay Thai journey. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts or your experiences. How have you navigated setting boundaries in your training? Leave a comment, drop me a message, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, take care of yourself and happy training.